Welcome to CETV, Community Education Television. I'm your host, Doug Greer, Dean for Community Education at Waubonsee Community College. Let's take a look at today's show. It's CETV, and I'm here with Dawn Staszak. And Dawn Staszak is the author of A Guru in the Office, 50 Ways to Remember Your Spirit in the Corporate World. It's a book full of tips and techniques about bridging the gap between business and spirituality. Now, Dawn's been working in an office environment for over 19 years, including businesses and nonprofits, large and small, and as a permanent and temporary employee. And I understand that you're currently an administrative assistant in a Fortune 500 company?
Yep. Great.
And Dawn, in reading your book, Guru in the Office, 50 Ways to Remember Your Spirit in the Corporate World, I was curious what you thought is lacking in the workplace, and how why you thought that you needed to write something to help people in the workplace.
Actually, I didn't write it with the premise that anything was generally lacking in the workplace. You have cultures that thrive and cultures that do not thrive. And that's self-evident in the employees themselves and their morale and the turnover or the tenure there. So I wrote the book actually because I'm into spirituality and new thought, and I work in the workplace. Mm-hmm. So what I just wanted to do was bridge those two worlds together and find ways to express myself in the workplace.
So when you say bridge those two worlds, mm-hmm. How can somebody go about doing that? What are some of the things that you recommend for people?
Well, one of the things are your passwords, actually. When you log in the morning, you can say a motivational affirmation to yourself or a positive quote to get you started during the day. Since you log into your computer in the morning, that's the first thing you do. Another thing is to make sure that you take your breaks and take your lunch hour. When you get to working, you get involved in your projects and what you do all day, and you just keep going and going, and you forget to take a break. So when you take breaks for yourself, that gives you the drive to keep going throughout the day and relax.
So we're allowed to have lunch breaks.
Yes, you are.
I think I need to remember that one. Yep. So probably not eating at your desk.
Or you can eat at your desk and then go for a walk on your lunch break.
Okay.
When it's nice outside.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's not so much that you sensed that there was something lacking, mm-mm. or that you know, people just hated work and they needed help, but it was really how can you bring that spiritual element, the spiritual part of your life, also into the workplace.
Exactly. How do you keep yourself centered? Because you can't always control maybe sometimes your workload or the things that come your way, especially being an administrative assistant. You have to be ready for anything. Mm-hmm. But when you keep yourself centered and focused, then you're most productive.
Now, do you find, and we'll talk some more about additional techniques that, mm-hmm. that you have in your book, because not surprisingly there's 50 of them in the book, right? So, but do you find that these would also work or could also be used if you don't work in an office environment? Mm-hmm. Say you work in a construction or a retail mm-hmm. environment or some other kind of environment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Anywhere where you have to log into a machine, or whether you get breaks, or when you have to deal with people, and that's basically everything, mm-hmm. everything we do.
So almost any kind of job, you could,
sure.
There is something in your book that people could use and focus on.
I would think so, especially in the days of we have PDAs or personal assistants or Blackberries. It doesn't matter mm-hmm. if you're really in the office. You could have a home-based business mm-hmm. and still need some time to yourself and to center yourself throughout your day.
Okay, that's interesting, because mm-hmm. I didn't necessarily think about a home-based business,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of people do work from home mm-hmm. nowadays, an increasing mm-hmm. number of people. So you use the word spirituality, and it's obviously in the title of the book as well. What do you mean by spirituality?
I mean the connection to a greater purpose in life, and what you would consider God, whether you call it God or any other word, universe or spirit. It's what you feel when you close your eyes and what you feel is your purpose in your work that you do, whatever work that is.
Do you think that people are maybe hesitant to think about spirituality in the workplace together, or that might sort of, you know, get people a little bit defensive or worried or concerned?
It could be if you become preachy about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why my book focuses on certain things that you can do to yourself,
mm-hmm.
and it's very personal.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do all of these things and no one has to be the wiser.
Right. So it's very individual.
It's very
individual, personal,
mm-hmm.
private.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. I noticed in reading through a lot of the tips that perhaps an underlying message, I'm not really sure of the right word to use, but is that your thoughts can really control your mood. Mm-hmm. Would I be right in that that's really kind of underlying point that you're trying to make, is that how you think and what you tell yourself can really have a big impact on your mood?
Absolutely, and it all comes back to what you think in your mind, because you're having this running conversation to yourself all day long.
Right.
And you have hundreds of thousands of thoughts a day,
mm-hmm.
and that is actually shown in your actions and your performance. If you walk around all day with a frown on your face, then it affects everybody else. But if you're in a good mood and you project positive energy, it actually has an effect on the people around you.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll be back after a short break with Dawn Staszak.